Good afternoon, you're watching News Always On. I'm Kessyl. Singer Chris Brown was arrested Thursday after a concert in Florida on an outstanding warrant for felony battery. The Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office confirmed that he was booked on the charge and then released on a $2,000 bond. Currently in the middle of his heartbreak on a full moon tour, it was unclear early Friday morning what the battery charge was related to. Brown has a history of violence, including a felony conviction for the 2009 assault on his then-girlfriend, Rihanna. In 2016, he was arrested at his own home in Los Angeles for an alleged assault with a deadly weapon after a former beauty queen called 911 from outside the house requesting help. Later, he was released on a $250,000 bail. In 2013, Brown struck a man outside a Washington, D.C. hotel and was charged with misdemeanor assault. The singer was ordered into rehab but was dismissed from the facility for violating its rules. In another incident while in treatment, Brown was accused of throwing a brick at his mother's car following a counseling session. It came after Brown completed court-ordered anger management classes. Moving on to our second news of today. Pressure is mounting onto Thai authorities to bring forward a rescue plan for 12 boys and their coach trapped deep inside a flooded cave in northern Thailand, after the death of a former Navy diver and a drop in oxygen levels underground. Petty Officer Simon Gunan lost consciousness on his way out of the Tham Luang cave complex, where he had been delivering air tanks. His death changed the mood on the ground and made real for rescuers just how dangerous the mission has become. Finnish volunteer diver Mikko Pasi said, "Definitely you can feel that it has an effect, but we are moving on. Everyone is a professional, so we are trying to put it away and avoid it happening again. Everybody is focusing on getting these boys out, keeping them alive, or getting them out." Officials initially thought they could keep the boys and their coach in the cave for up to 4 months until waters dropped sufficiently for them to be able to walk out. But the death of the rescue team member and the realization that oxygen levels have fallen to potentially dangerous levels appears to have forced a reassessment of the situation. Thai Navy SEAL chief said oxygen levels in the cave had dropped to 15%, a level that one Thai medic said posed a serious risk of hypoxia, which is the same condition that causes altitude sickness. He also said despite the risk involved in attempting to bring them out, it would be too dangerous to leave the boys much longer. He said, quote, "We originally thought the young boys could stay safe inside the cave for quite a long time, but circumstances have changed. We have limited amount of time. Their main priority at the moment is to get more oxygen piped into the boys." According to CNN, one reason the team cannot yet be evacuated is that the rescuers were also still searching for 3 more wetsuits with a thickness of 5 millimeters, as 3 of the boys are too small for the wetsuits on hand. The huge operation to rescue them involves dozens of Thai Navy SEALs and experts and volunteers divers from parts of Europe and Asia, as well as Australia and the United States. This morning, billionaire inventor and entrepreneur Elon Musk said engineers from his company SpaceX and Boring Company were heading to Thailand to see if they could help. The boys and their coach have been trapped for nearly 2 weeks in a chamber in the cave. They ventured in while the cave was still dry, but they were caught out by a sudden flood of rain, which flooded the system. 10 days later, the group was found by British rescue divers perched on a rock shelf in a small chamber about 2.5 miles from the cave mouth. Next up, we are looking at the news that is off southern Thailand, where a boat carrying more than 100 passengers, mostly Chinese tourists, overturned in rough waters on Thursday, killing at least 27, with dozens still missing. Reuters said 93 of the passengers on the boat called the Phoenix were Chinese tourists. Phuket is known for its beaches and luxurious resorts, and it's one of Thailand's most popular tourist destinations, with many of its foreign visitors being Chinese tourists. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lu Gang said in a press briefing that 2 Chinese nationals have been confirmed dead and 47 were missing, while 78 Chinese nationals have been rescued. A team of diplomats from the Chinese consulate and embassy in Thailand were rushed to Phuket overnight to visit people in hospitals and assist with the rescue response. Lu Kang said, quote, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has immediately activated an emergency response system and take the lead to organize a multi-ministry working group which is on their way to Thailand for assistance. Thailand is in the middle of monsoon season, which brings high winds and flash storms to coastal areas. As a precaution, the governor reportedly ordered all boats not to leave port overnight. The captain of the Phoenix said that was quoted in Thai media as saying his vessel was hit by a 13 to a 16-foot wave. He said, quote, seawater flooded inside the vessel. The water pump was not fast enough to pump the water out, and the boat began to sink. I asked all the passengers to check out that their life jackets were secure. 2 life rafts were deployed while nearby fishing boats were contacted for help. The boat sank very quickly. We did our best to keep the passengers calm and keep them safe during the chaos. Next up, we are looking at the former leader of the Doomsday Cult that carried out a fatal gas attack on the Tokyo subway which killed 13 people and injured 6,000 in March 1995 was executed along with 6 other members. Japanese government spokesman has confirmed the execution. Shoko Asahara, who was the mastermind behind the attack, founded Shirinko, or the Supreme Truth, in the mid-1980s. The group attracted young people disillusioned with the modern materialistic way of life. Asahara has been in prison for 22 years before his execution this week. According to the Amnesty International, executions in Japan are done in secret with no advance warning given to the prisoner, their family, or legal representatives. Prisoners often only learn hours before they are killed. A victims group representative and widow of a Tokyo Metro employee who died in the sarin attack told reporters she was surprised by the sudden execution. Her husband died after removing one of the sarin packages. She said, quote, my husband's parents and my parents are already dead. I think they would find it regrettable that they could not have heard the news of this execution. I wanted the cult members to confess more about the incident, so it's a pity that we cannot hear the account anymore. His Supreme Truth cult is a combination of a bizarre mix of Buddhist and Hindu meditation along with Christian and occultic teachings, yoga, and the occult. It once boasted more than 10,000 followers in Japan and an estimated 30,000 people in Russia. According to a report by the Federation of American Scientists, on March 20, 1995, 5 members carrying plastic bags filled with sarin boarded the subway cars on 3 different lines in central Tokyo during rush hour. They punctured the bags with the sharpened tips of the umbrellas and left them on baggage racks or the floor to sip the deadly gas into the carriages. Within 4 minutes of each other, the trains were scheduled to arrive at the central station. The cult hoped not to only kill everyone on board, but also use the trains to deliver the gas to a massive interchange used by thousands of passengers at a time. Fortunately, mistakes made in developing the sarin and its delivery method meant the attack was far less effective than intended, and the group only succeeded in killing 12 and injuring 5,500 people. Another victim died later. According to a FSS report, chemical weapons experts estimate that tens of thousands could have been easily been killed if the attack had been carried out correctly. Moving on to our last news of this time, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo began his first trip to Pyongyang since President Donald Trump's summit with leader Kim Jong-un last month with a vow to nail down the specifics of Kim's commitments on denuclearization. Pompeo arrived in the North Korea capital on Friday with the crucial task of dispelling growing skepticism over how seriously Kim is about giving up his nuclear arsenal and translating the upbeat rhetoric following the summit into concrete action. He was met at the Pyongyang airport by a senior ruling party official and former intelligence chief Kim Yong-chol and Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho. Soon afterward, Pompeo and Kim Yong-chol, who has been something of a point man on Washington negotiations for Kim Jong-un, sat down for their first talks. It was not clear if Pompeo would meet directly with Kim Jong-un as he has previously done. Pompeo said in a statement before he left for his trip, quote, On this trip, I'm seeking to fill in some details on those commitments and continue the momentum towards implementation of what the two leaders promised each other and the world, adding that he expected North Korea was ready to do the same. Kim Yong-chol said, "The more we meet, the deeper our friendship will be, I hope. Today's meeting is meaningful. It's really meaningful." Again, I like always to end the newscast lightly. On a slow day in April of 1930, BBC Radio reported saying, "There's no news." Instead, they played piano music. That's all the time we have for now. For News Always On, I'm Kessyl. I'll see you in the next newscast.